Okay, this is the SugarU live webinar series. So we have one of these a month, every month, but this is our third one. This is on dashboard mastery. So we're going to set up powerful insights for SugarCRM, which hopefully turns your data into good decisions. My name is Andrea Ayers. I work for SugarCRM. I'm in the SugarU department, which is just training inside of SugarCRM. I'm a senior product trainer and instructional designer. I've been with Sugar for 15 years. And let's jump into now, you know who I am. If you have any questions throughout any of the session, please feel free to put them into chat, okay? That's your way to communicate with me. So we're going to have a brief introduction. That's what this is. I'm going to go through an agenda of things we're going to talk about. And then we'll go through, I just want to talk about some logistics with the webinar. You can communicate with chat, but I am going to be recording the session. So you're not going to be able to unmute because I don't like a lot of background noises when people are going to be watching it later. And there's going to be quite a few that are going to be watching it that couldn't do this particular time zone time, but wanted the information. So that's one reason why everybody is on mute, but please ask questions, even if it doesn't have to do with what I'm talking about at that particular moment, okay? So as we go through some of the material, I'm going to start off with just a basic discussion, if you will, about dashboards. Then we're going to go into more specifics, and I'm going to do a demo of creating a dashboard and sharing that dashboard. Then we'll go through some other configurations that you can do or other dashlets specifically that I may want to talk about that I think you may be interested in. And then we'll go through some things not to do. Okay, when creating the dashboard. I'm going to say it like this: things that you should avoid, and then we'll wrap it up at the end with additional resources. Okay. If there's a link as we go through, and there will be a couple, I will be adding those into chat so that you can click on and bookmark them and look at them later. Okay. So first question I want to ask, and I do have a poll that I'm going to execute here, is what is your experience level with dashboards? So let me see if I can pull this up. Not coming. Let me try it again. No. I'm just going to ask you then. So I want you to put into chat whether you are a beginner, you're intermediate, you're advanced with dashboards. Just let me know, put it into chat, and just so I can get an idea of what we're talking. Oh, got a lot of intermediates. This is great. Beginners, okay. Nobody advanced is C yet. A lot of intermediate. Okay. Some more beginners. Great. So I'm going to ask you a different thing to do now, okay? This is a raise your hand. How many of you have, let me see this, created your own dashboard? Raise your hand. It's just another feature inside of the Zoom. Oh, most of you. Excellent. Okay, here's another one. I'm going to lower hand. This is just helping me with how we're going to talk about stuff. So let me say this. How well did that go? Tell me in chat. Went pretty good. You knew what you were doing. It made sense. You got stuck. I don't know how to do a few things, whatever your experience was. Um, would have been better if I had training. It always is a good one. It worked well, made sense, pretty good. Okay, good. Works pretty well most of the time. Sometimes you get good weird results. Yeah, that can happen. Sure. Always room for improvement. That's good too. So. That's a good answer too. It's exploratory. Not the best way to learn, I know, but that's good. All right, thank you. That helps me out. So what I'm going to do next is kind of take some of that information and some of the beginner stuff we may not spend as much time on. Just not that for those of you, the beginners, you're going to miss out. You're still going to get the information, okay? So why do dashboards matter? Why is this important? It, I think this is the same for those of us that either journal or have a planner or do a calendar every single morning before you start your day. It's a way to organize your what's about to happen in your life. So for me, that's the way that I use my dashboard. It empowers me to make some decisions, right? By looking at it, I can go, oh, this is really important, or this is past due. I better do this one before I do something else. It also helps improve sales support and marketing, right? Whether you're a salesperson is looking at a particular dashboard in order to tell how to start their day versus support, like I got 50 cases assigned to me. They're at this priority, at this level. This is the way I need to handle them. And they help boost visibility. And that is not only for yourself, but also for your boss and their boss, et cetera, up the chain of command, right? So that I know what I'm doing, and I also know what my employees are doing, and I know how I'm performing and how they are performing. So depending on who you may be, you may see information in the system a little bit differently. Um, Also, that has to do with teams and roles also in the system. But mainly what I mean by boosting visibility is so that you can see, especially your stuff, right? For your dashboard, this is the stuff that I can control. It's under my responsibility that I need to complete. So who actually uses dashboards? Well, there's four main groups. The first one is sales reps, right? They want to not only track their leads, but also in Sugar, once a lead is converted into an opportunity, they want to get to that closed one, right? Like, where am I? How far am I ahead? What do I need to do next on each of these as next steps to cultivate a lead or nurture a lead or close a deal? Also, you got those folks, the sales reps, managers. So they want to see team performance. How are we doing? How many calls are you making a week? Maybe how many connections you're making, how many emails are you sending out, etc. They're tracking things, right? Things that are set for quota. Here's your quota. They're going to set those also. And also, how well are you performing? Or sales reps performing. Also, we have support reps, right? They have SLAs. They got to get things done within a certain period of time. Now, sales reps do too, but support is very connected to service level agreements, especially because they're connected to the customer, and we want to keep customers happy. So that's why a support rep's life is based on SLA tracking. And executives are going to use dashboards mainly for high level KPIs, right? They want to make sure that people are meeting goals that are set for them, and that expectations can be set clearly by a particular dashboard. Now, dashboards are driven by data, and data if you have bad data in Sugar, then your dashboards are not going to look as pretty as you want them to. But this is the way I look at this. If you're getting information on your dashboard that doesn't look completely right, there's a good chance that the data that it's trying to pull from is incorrect, or it's pulling the wrong field, or it's filtering by the wrong field. So that's what we're going to learn to do a little better today, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the autonomy of a dashboard. So each of these little boxes that you see here on the screen are called dashlets, and they can be arranged in different areas. We'll talk different places. We'll talk about layout here in a second. Each dashlet, especially if you're creating a dashboard yourself, you add each one of them in. So you're going to get, if you want to create a dashboard, you can do two things. You can create one from scratch, meaning nothing, and you just add every single dashlet to it, or you could copy somebody else's dashboard that you may have access to, and then or duplicate it, give it a new name, probably a name, your name on it, and then you can add or remove dashlets however you want. Each dashlet can be configured. So if it is a dashboard you own, then you can configure that dashlet. In the top, when you click on the name of the dashlet at the very top on the right, there'll be a menu cogwheel button that you can click, and you can edit the dashboard. Some dashboards, like this particular one, is a list view dashlet. It just looks like a mini list view, like if you were to look at all the opportunities. This is just a dashlet, a smaller version of that list view. You can configure what columns you see, what order those columns are in. So you can rearrange them however you particularly want to see it. This is not something that an admin has to do for you. A user can do this functionality. Now, if you're taking this particular webinar so that you can turn around and then teach this information to your employees, maybe at their next staff meeting, you're going to have to do some of this demo that I'm going to show you here in a little bit, in just like I'm going to do. Okay. You may like someone else's dashboard. Everything is great except for like 2 dashlets that you want to remove. So duplicate it, take the 2 off. You're going to have to give it a new name, and that's your new dashlet. It's assigned to you, and you own that new dashboard with the remaining dashlets that you have on it. Okay. The next thing is filters. So in the top right-hand corner, so this is just a little video of how that works. Man, that looks really, let me stop it for a second. Let me start it over. There we go, that's clear. So filters on the, oh, that went to focus chores. Sorry. Okay, I'll talk about this one, but I'll show it to you in a little bit. Filters are in the top right-hand corner of every dashboard, and you can click on it, and any runtime filter, which is something that you can add to a report at the time that is run, you can change the filter. You can go into that particular dashlet and make a change on the right-hand side of that particular filter. And for example, if the filter was for a specific person, I would change it like to current user. So then it always will show up current for me when I look at that particular view. So this was assigned to a team. If you want to do it to current user, it would be, in this case, I'm logged in as Jim. It's going to be his um, rep win-loss ratio dashlet. Okay. Well, I'll demo that one a little bit better in a minute. Focus stores. Now, some people don't know that we even have focus stores. So I just wanted to point them out. They are available on your dashboard. They're also available on the list view. So if you have a list view dashlet, there is a little hyperlink that is to the right of every um, name of the field, name of the record. Right, let me see if it shows you again here. Right there, see that little icon? And it opens up a drawer, pulls over from the left-hand side of little dashlets. It's like another dashboard, right? With little dashlets on it about that specific, in this case, opportunity. This one also had the associated account, any comments that people have been communicating back and forth to each other, and then a timeline. Timeline is going to track every single action that's happened on a particular timeline. Each of those dashlets can be configured by your admin. If there are things missing in the dashlet, then that's something that your admin can fix in Studio. You don't have to contact us or pay somebody to do it for you. It's all available out of the box for an admin to change in Studio. Okay, so that's a focus drawer. Next is just layout. So within a particular dashboard, you can drag and drop. You drag and drop, even if you don't own that particular dashboard, move around the dashlets that make sense to you. You can, if you only want to have what you can see, like 2 rows of dashlets, that's fine. You can see that this one's longer, meaning you have to scroll down. If you don't like to scroll down, you don't want that, and you're going to put it in like 6 dashlets in one view, then that's your decision. You can drag and drop as needed. To make a dashlet wider or smaller, you have to grab it in the bottom right or left-hand corner. It gives you a little diagonal arrow, and you can scoot it back and forth, okay? That's the only way to resize a particular dashlet, and you can move it from one location to the other. If it's moving from the same size dashlet to another dashlet, and you just move it down, it will take that particular dashlet's place. But if they're different sizes, it may scoot things around on the page, move things around on the page. Okay, so we're going to also demo layout in just a minute too. Okay, so you get to see what that looks like too. So there are also dashboards, that's what they really are, on the list view of a particular module. And you can configure your own dash and create a dashboard on your intelligence panel. And this is the image here is just the accounts list view. And it had one dashlet already on it, but I added a few more below. And you'll see here in a second, there's another one that I had some dashlets on, and I actually removed some because they didn't make sense to my particular view, and that's perfectly fine. You're setting these up to make sure sense to you as you do your daily job. It does not need to be the same for everyone. Not one size does not fit everyone in this case, especially when it comes to how you do your day. Everybody does that differently. And even those that are huge planners, they want to see things their way on the system. And that's why dashboards are completely configurable by you. Oh, okay, I'm reading a question. Sorry. That is a good thing. I'm going to mention that in just a minute. Thank you. Let me read the second one. Hold on. Yes. Okay. Both those are great features. I totally agree on both of those. I think those are good ideas. I'm going to tell you what to do with them in a minute, and it's not a bad thing. That sounded horrible. Okay, there's also an intelligence pane, is what we call that little thing on the right-hand side, that piece of the screen on the record view. So in the list view, I click on a record, takes me to the actual record view, and there is a pane that I can configure on that too. Now, we have some out of the box dashboards already available on those particular intelligence panes, both for the list view and for the record view. You can take them or leave them. You can create new ones if you want. You can remove some dashlets. You can collapse a dashlet if you wish by default. So all you have to do if you ever want to see it is uncollapse it. Okay, that is totally a possibility too. So we also have templates. Some of you may like them, love them, and some of you may not use any of them. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to. Templates are just simply out of the box dashboards that we gave to you that you can use or not use. Okay, they're available. They're also called in some places role-based dashboards because they're based on a particular role. Like the very first one is the executive dashboard. And it is that high level view of things that an executive would need to know either for sales or for support and sometimes marketing, depending on what executive we're talking about. It's where they can see win-loss ratios, trends in time to resolve cases, for example, things like that. So at a very high level, sales managers are going to see it's in somewhat big picture idea of like newly created leads, like more the numbers, right? Not necessarily the actual data behind it. What the pipelines look like specific for specific users or their specific teams. They may be over more than one team. They may need to see different things as well as quotes needing approval and escalated cases. Now, quotes needing approval is a specific dashboard, but that is based on Sugar BPM. And we're going to talk about that specific dashlet in a little bit after we do the demo, because I want to make sure that for any of you that are going to have to do any kind of approvals, you will need this particular dashboard in order to do that. Excuse me, this particular dashlet in order to do those approvals. There's one thing that's on it that you won't find anywhere else. Sales reps themselves, right? We have a dashboard already set up that you can duplicate and then customize more if you want for your organization's specific needs. So it's signed leads, I want to see all my new and assigned leads to me, any open opportunities, the pipeline, so they can quickly get the state of their work to focus their efforts each day. So I can know where I am right now and what my next steps are for today. I don't know why those both came at the same time. There's also a BDR, which is business development rep dashboard, specifically to track not only marketing, but also sales qualified leads, lead source, and lead conversion rates. And speaking of leads, marketing also has a dashboard. And this is going to give those marketing users a sense of also the new leads coming into the CRM and where they're coming from, lead source, and how marketing campaigns are working. So what's the return on investment for those marketing? And finally, we also have a customer success board. So this is all of your support or technical staff that may be working on issues that customers are having, whether that is they're still in the leads process and they're dealing with a demo product that you may have, or a demo instance that they're using and they need help with it, or they're already a customer and they need help with the actual product that they purchased. Okay, that all can be tracked also, just like a sales rep. A customer success dashboard is also just to see where their status is. How many cases do I have assigned to me? How many tasks are assigned to me to do? How many phone calls do I need to return, etc. Okay. So those are all called templates in the system. You can look at them, and I'm going to zoom through them real quick just to show you when we get into the demo about how you may want to use some of them in your daily life. Okay. So to build a dashboard, this is so super high level. Okay. But this is how I recommend before you touch sugar. Okay. Is you whether this is all in your head or it's on a piece of paper, I don't care. But if you're a beginner, this would have been better way to learn, right? How to actually do a dashboard. So first of all, I want to talk about the define the purpose of a particular dashboard. I like to do dashboards that have a purpose. Like this is my team dashboard, my team pipeline dashboard, or this is if I have like 5 employees, I would do a dashboard for all 5 employees. So I could easily go to Chris's record and Will's record and Sarah's record, etc., very quickly, or their dashboards, and see the records assigned to them, what their progress is, etc. So I need to know the purpose. Then I'm going to go in and choose my modules or reports, right? What exactly do I want to display? Am I going to have a bunch of charts on my dashboard? Am I going to have just lists of things that I need to do, activities or leads or things that need action on them? And then I need to plan out my layout. Just even if it's just a sketch real quick, I want this to look this particular way. Draw that out, okay? Then I'm going to add and configure my dashlets, okay? So I have to add each one individually and when I add them, configure them, save them, and then go to the next dashlet, okay? Then I'm going to refine and test. So I'm going to look at this. Does it look great? Does it have everything I want? Refining always happens. Okay. You may look at it and go, ooh, I need to move this all around. I want these charts all over here on the right side and all of my lists on the left side. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. Then, if you think it's something that you could share with your team, I encourage you to do so. I'm going to show you in a little bit how to do that. Okay. There also is another feature that I'm going to talk about of another way that you can share also as an admin. Okay, but we'll hold off on that. So if I were to create an actual dashboard, let's say I want to create a dashboard, I would call it my to-do list for the day. These are only going to be the dashlets that have to do with what happens today. I'm not going to put any history dashlets on there or anything that is going to distract me because it's easily distractible from what I need to do. I need to do these 5 things first and then this thing and then this dashlet. Okay. So I need to have maybe my opportunity pipeline so I know what the next steps are on my opportunities, my favorite accounts, which by the way doesn't mean the ones that I love the most. It just means the ones that I'm working on the most. New and assigned leads, planned activities, and active task. That's this and this. These are the things I've got to work on. Okay. I'm going to lay them out in 3 columns across and have probably about two or 3 rows. And I'm going to use the report dashlet, the list dashlet, the planned activities dashlet, and the active task dashlet. So I'm going to get in there and put it together. I'm going to use it maybe for a day or two and go, I don't really like this. And I can move some things around, right? Till it looks great. Once it looks good and you've been using it using it well, then I would just put it out there for the team. they can take it or leave it. Doesn't mean that you're pushing the dashboard on them. It just means that they'll be able to see it and manage dashboard. And maybe in your next meeting, you can say, hey, I created this new dashboard. If y'all are interested, make sure you go out there and just put a star by it. Okay. So I'm going to go into our system here, my training instance, and I'm actually logged in as a executive, but I'm going to do some things that are just anybody could do. Anybody can create a dashboard. So to start off with, let's talk about where all the dashboards are located. Okay, they're all up here where the little house or home icon is, and then the three-dot menu beside that, if you click on it, you can see there's the first thing underneath it is create a dashboard. The second one is manage dashboards. This is where all the dashboards that you have access to, which means it's in a team that you are included in, okay? Whether that means that you were manually added or you were added because you are the manager of a particular person. And then below are all of the dashlets that Jim, that's who I'm logged in as, has starred that he wants to have access to. And what I mean by starred is he's gone into, or it's just been given to him out of the box, manage dashboard. And these are all the dashboards from on the home module, because remember you can have dashboards on other modules. If he check marks a box, check marks a dashboard that's listed here. Let's say this, those are all the same, home one and sales manager dashboard, whichever ones are checked besides the templates, because you're going to get those anyway, they will then show up in the list. Okay, so I'm going to make one here in a second and it will be in this list, and when someone else logs on, if I've shared it with them, they then can also see that dashlet in their managed dashboards. Okay, so it defaults to, when you go into manage dashboards, by the way, to the dashboard that you're on, which happens to be the home. So that's where all those particular, that filter is for the home. So let's create a brand new dashboard that he doesn't have already. So let me show you the home one first. It's pretty generic, right? It has contacts, my contacts, pipeline, right? It has to be on the right quarter. What is this quarter? Second, I think. He may not have anything assigned to him because he's a manager. Yeah, he doesn't. Let's look at his team. 2025 Q2. Okay, so that's all the prospects in his particular team. And then if you, let's put this as a team too, then you can see the dot dashlet there too for the top 10 sales opportunities that exist. And then the bigger the bubble, the more money there is. Okay, and if you hover over, it tells you who owns it, what the likely amount is, when it's expected to close, and the probability. Okay, so that's pretty generic one. I don't even want to copy that one. I want to create a brand new one. So I'm going to go up here to the top and click on Create Dashboard. And the first thing it asks you to do is name it. Okay, so I'm just going to call this my to-do list. Or you, how about this? My daily to-do list. I like that better. And then save. And now the dashboard's created. There's no dashlets on it and there's no information, but it has a title. Okay. Now, the very first dashlet, and this is only going to appear on the very first one, it says right here at the top, no dashlets configured, meaning it's empty. It gives you a button right below that that says add dashlet. This is the only time you're going to see this. All other times to add additional dashlets, you have to go down to this float menu. So when you click on it, the three lines in the bottom right hand corner, the first option right above it is add dashlet. Okay, so I can create the first one up here at the top by clicking add dashlet button, or not and or you could go down to add dashlet at the bottom. They will do the exact same thing. Question, can you show how to get a dashboard to show in the list again? Show up in, oh, sorry, yes. Right here. So if I want it to show up in my list, I would go to Manage Dashboards and check mark the box. I'm going to do that for this home one so you can see what that looks like in a second. Okay, so the one I just did, let me go back into it. There it is. Okay. Not that one. Do it here. This one. Okay, so I'm going to add my first dash it. So I'm just going to hit the button at the top. Okay, and this drawer pulls down from the top of the screen. Goes pretty fast, but it's called a drawer. So it pulls down. I'm going to increase the font size here a little bit, the zoom, just so you can see what options you have available. I recommend that you check out all of these. Okay, there are some things in here I think that are valuable that may be hidden that you didn't know even existed. Okay, I'm going to hit the most popular ones that people use all the time, but like I said, I recommend that you go in and check out some of the other ones that exist. Now, some of them, like you may pull up a report one and it may look like, ooh, this is horrible chart. And it may be because it's a horrible report. It doesn't necessarily mean that it came out of the box or that someone may be using it for a specific purpose and it meets their needs, but it may not be great for your dashboard. Okay, so just going to say that. So I'm going to put everything that has to do with to-do stuff, things I need to get done. So the most popular or most used dashlet is this list view. Okay, the list view dashlet is very configurable. You can do it for any module. Now it defaults to accounts because that alphabetically, that's the one at the top. If you renamed any of your modules, which you can do very easily in Studio, not in Studio, on the admin page, the renamed word is also going to be here in the list, right? It won't have the old name. So if you named a company accounts companies, then it won't be the first one in the list. It'll be further down because it starts with a C. Okay, a little bit of alphabetical education there. Okay, so I'm going to do one on my leads. So I can either scroll down to leads or I can start typing leads and it will narrow down the list for me. So I'm going to pick leads. It changes the name of it at the top to my leads instead of my accounts, which is great. I'm going to change a few things. I want all the leads assigned to me that have a new or assigned status. Okay, so I'm going to go into build a filter and I'm going to put the name of the first field. So I want these all assigned to, and instead of yeah, I'll just put Jim. Well, let me do this. So there is a, and I'll just pick Jim here. Okay, never mind. I'll do that in a second. Okay, so all records assigned Jim, that's who's I'm logged in as. Plus, I'm going to add a second filter in, and this is based on status of the lead. Two statuses I want. So I'm going to say is any of, and then I'm going to pick two. New or, this is an or assigned. So the way this reads is this way. I want all leads that are assigned to Jim and have a status of new or assigned. Okay, so each row is an and. If you pick more than one option per row, that is an or. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and name this here. So I'm going to say new and assigned leads. I'm going to put my at the beginning. Okay, now this saved filter is going to be also available in my list view filters. Okay, so right above list view where there's this the search area or the filters, build a filter, this will be available in leads also. Okay, it will be available for other dashlets, other places, but anywhere there is a lead dashlet that you're going to filter by. If I wanted to add an extra column, maybe let's put the lead source in. Okay, let me do it again. Oh, not available. Nope, never mind. Not going to do that. Okay, so there's three columns. I'm going to leave the first column frozen in case I need to scroll over. That's fine. And I'm going to change the name up here at the top too. So I'm going to say new and assigned leads. Save. Okay. Now it defaults to 5 rows, and that's fine with me. Let me see how many total we have. Three pages of 5, so at least 11. Okay. All right, so that's about how big. So, you see I grabbed that in the bottom right-hand corner. Could have done it from the left-hand corner too, it doesn't matter. And as I go, this light blue box in the background kind of pops in and tells you where that's going to go. Okay, so it may not look like it's that small, but that's where the box, wherever the blue box is, that's where it's going to resize that particular dashlet. Okay, every dashlet you add, like I'm going to add a second one here. So I just added to the float menu and went to add dashlet. So if I wanted to add a dashlet for, I'm going to do one for processes just so you can see what that looks like. If Jim has any processes assigned to him, I can resize and then move up like that. Okay. It's empty right now. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be any processes assigned to him just yet. But see how there's just this area over here is kind of squished. That's pretty small, but that doesn't mean you can't put anything in there. If you really want it to be 3 across, then you could do that. So I'm going to do one for planned activities. Planned activities is a pretty popular one too. These are all your calls and meetings. There it defaults to. Whoop, I picked the wrong one. It defaults to yours, so just planned activities for yourself, but you can change that to your particular team that you may be on. So only thing you can do is change the name and how many rows. 10's fine. Save. Okay. So here's my planned activities. Jim's got some overdue stuff. He's not been very good. I'm working on those. So it defaults to today. It defaults to Jim's or my activities, but he can always look at future and he can always look at his entire team's activities if he wants, both for calls and meetings also. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to resize this one to go like that. And then I'm going to put on one more active task. These are to-dos, right? Now, there's another option that's available on some of these dashlets that is called auto refresh. Let me talk about that quick. Need to squish this up. There we go. Like that. Okay. So I just added 4 dashlets to my dashboard. Okay. So I'm going to come back to this processes one in a minute. We're going to populate it and show you what that looks like and how you actually are supposed to use it in a moment. So this is a dashboard. Notice I created it. So up here at the very top, there is a star, okay? Already dark, right? It's already black. So that means if you create a dashboard, it's displayed. If I so right now, sorry, I hit the little thing. My daily to-do list dashboard it's actually at the very top of my list right there. But if I decide, yeah, I don't want to use this one anymore, I can uncheck it and it will be removed from my list. Okay, yeah, it just popped away just by simply hitting the star. So that's one way to add or remove once if it's one you created. If you don't see it in your list and you want to get it back, you can always go into manage dashboards. And if I want to see, like right now it's unchecked, if I click the star, it will then be in my list and I can permanently go back and see it, right? But if for any reason I go in and go, I don't want this one anymore, I just can uncheck it. I wouldn't, especially if you shared it with other people, I wouldn't necessarily go in and delete it because some people may be using your dashlet, right? If you share it, then it's shared with everybody. So let's say that you are like Jim, a manager, and you want these are things that you're going to say in your next staff meeting. These are things I want everybody to start paying attention to. We are having problems with customers not being contacted within our service level agreement that we have internally at least once a month, right? It's not happening. So I'm going to create a dashboard, which I just did, and I'm going to share it with all of you. Make sure that you go in and pull it. Okay? So what Jim has to do in order to share it, he has to go into the manage dashboard option. Looks like this, right? Automatically defaulted to home. I did not have to do that. It's already a pre-populated filter. I click on the hyperlink. Just like a hyperlink into an account, this is a hyperlink into this dashboard. Okay, I click on the dashboard, and right now, under show more, the team, oh, it's already up there, sorry, is Jim Brennan's private team. Okay, now he is an exec. So the only other person right now, and he's the top of the hierarchy, by the way, the only other person that could see this dashboard right now at this particular moment is an admin, a super user, right? They can see all records no matter what the team is. Nobody else can see it. Nobody else would even know that he has this dashlet that exists until he adds. So I'm going to leave Jim's private team. Okay, I'm not going to remove that. He's going to share it with his West team. Okay. And he also is over the East team. If it were specific to the West team, then he would just share it with West team. Specific to, I would make one really specific, right? I'd do all the filters that have to do with East for my East team dashboard, and all the filters have to do with West for my West team, something like that, okay? But if it's generic enough, it may not matter. I just don't happen to have a team that's called sales because we didn't create one in this particular demo. So I'm going to click Save. Now, if I logged in as somebody else, and by the way, it just puts in alphabetical order. That's why it puts East first. So if I go back to my Manage Dashboard page, it's still owned by Jim. See how it says Jim right here? It's still owned by Jim. But it's shared with other teams. Now, Jim is the only one that's going to show up in the list because that's the primary team. Primary teams are the only ones that show up in the list view. That doesn't mean that other teams aren't in it. You won't know that until you go in and share it. Now, if I logged out and logged back in as, let's pick one of his employees, Will. Okay. Will. Super secure. Password there. Okay. Will did not create this dashboard. It is not his, but because his boss gave him access to it, see, it's not in his list, my daily to-do list. I can go into manage dashboards. It's the one at the very top. The reason why it's at the very top, because most list views are sorted by default, unless you sort by another column, by the last date modified. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, and looky there, it's available to me. All I have to do is click either the star here or the star on the Manage Dashboard page. Either one, whether I click it here or on the actual dashboard itself, it then, because I'm logged in here as Will, not as Jim, it's now in Will's dashboard list. Okay, so that's how you can add and create and share, excuse me, dashboards. Now I'm going to show you one other feature. Let me log out of Will here, and I'm going to log in as the admin real quick. I'm going to show you a little behind the scenes, okay? This comes with your instance. This isn't something that we have to do for you, but there is a feature that is on the admin page under user management. There's actually two features, but I'm going to talk about one in particular. Content. Okay, let's say that and this page has a little bug on it in my training instance, but I'm going to talk around it. Okay, so there is a way, it's called copy preferences and content. It's under user management. Let's say you have the super user, man. They are in there working their heart out on dashboards. They got it down. They understand what they're doing. They have like 5 or 6 super great dashboards that they're using. And people have noticed, hey, I've noticed that you've got this particular dashboard. Would you mind sharing that with me? If you have a super user and you have new employees coming in, let's say next week you get 3 new salespeople, I would take an existing super user, let's say it's Eric, and I would say, okay, I've got 3 new people coming in next week, these 3. And I want to copy over, and you can pick what you want to copy over. Okay, so in the instance that's not got a bug in it like mine, you actually can pick dashboards and pick the specific dashboards that Eric has that you think these other users may want. It also can default these other things, like what are their favorite reports. You can also do the filters, save filters that they have, etc. Okay, if they have any schedule reports assigned to them, do the same for these Melissa and Andy and Elena. Okay, does that make sense? So I recommend if you have an admin or you are the admin, if you haven't seen this particular feature, copy um, preferences and content. Yours is actually going to have a drop down at the top for dash. This is regular content preferences, but there's also dashboards and filters. I recommend you take advantage of it. Okay, it's underneath user management on the admin page. So admin page, user management. Okay. Check that out. Really good, especially if you have some folks that are awesome at creating dashboards, okay? Could be their manager, take their manager's reports and say, manager says, hey, I got a bunch of these filters and a bunch of these reports and schedule reports, and I have a bunch of dashboards that I think my users could really use. Can you just push it out to them? That's how you push it. Okay, the admin can do that particular function. And as you can see, it doesn't take very long to do. It's just a few check mark boxes selecting some people. Okay. All right. Let me also talk about checking time here. We're doing good. A few other advanced customizations. So when there is a dashboard also on your mobile app. So this particular dashboard, the home dashboard, has these three dashlets on it by default. So it's, that one right there. And from our instance, we can go right into the mobile instance. So it looks something like this. Just imagine it being on a phone instead. It has those three dashlets. You can go into the My Contacts, you can go into the pipeline, check any of those particular sections, and you can go into the last dashlet, which is the top 10. Okay, it's the same view. Now let me tell you one restriction. It's a big one. You cannot configure any dashboards inside the mobile app. If you want a dashboard to have a particular view, then that you want on a dashboard on your mobile app, you have to configure it in the desktop version, okay, from the browser. Number one. Number two, not all dashlets are mobile app enabled, okay? Some of them only will be available on the desktop version. If you add another dashlet, say on this, let me just go back to the very beginning. On this, say you put a little dashlet down here underneath My Contacts, and it is not compatible for a mobile app, it will not show up in the mobile app. Doesn't matter if you have 20 more dashlets on here. If none of them are enabled for mobile app, they will not show up, okay? I don't know how many of you actually use the mobile app, but it is available and it does have dashboards on it. Okay, let's talk about the processes dashlet. So processes has to do with Sugar BPM. This is workflows, okay? There's a feature inside of Sugar BPM that allows a person to do a task inside of a workflow, okay? Sometimes that task is filling in a field. Sometimes it's just reviewing a record and clicking route, like it goes to the next step or the next user in the process. Sometimes they have to click a button that says approve or reject. So here is a little video of approval process specifically for quotes. So any quote that's over 30%, we're going to kick it out for a manager. They're going to either click approve or reject, and then that particular process gets taken out of their My Processes dashlet. Then they can go and do the second particular process. And let's say we reject this one, then it will go to the next step in the process if it's rejected. That may actually be a split, right? Do two different things. So one thing that I want to point out here, let me pause this. Do you see right here where it says self-service processes? Your admin or anyone that has admin access to create workflows can create a self-service task. And that self-service task is more of a, hey, I've got a team that are a bunch of go-getters, right? They will, if they got time and something needs to be done, they're going to get it done, right? Everybody helps everybody. So if you have a team like that, which is a completely awesome kind of team to be on, then self-service is the way to go. Like you could have 50 processes that could be done in a day because someone had, a couple of hours and they work through those processes really quickly. Maybe it just needs a cursory review of this particular record and you need to meet these criterias, or maybe they have some extra paperwork you have to look through, whatever it is, and they have time to do it. They claim it as their own, and then work it. There is no other place in Sugar where you can get self-service processes except this dashlet called processes. Okay, it will not show up in the module called processes where you see the processes assigned to you. It is only on this dashlet. So that's why it's important. So when I add a dashlet or create a dashboard that has access to processes for a particular group of people, like I may create a dashboard as an admin for all my sales managers. This is the dashboard I want you to use. It's got processes on it. Now, one thing I want to point out real quick is on the dashboard for and let me log in as Jim again. Okay, hold on one second. Here's Jim. So he's an exec. So I'm gonna pull up, I think, a sales manager dashboard. Come on, there we go. Sales manager. They have in this template, this role-based dashboard, there is a dashlet. They just renamed it. This is the processes dashlet right here. They just renamed it quotes in need of approval. Okay, so the quotes approvals are going to pop up here. It is already displayed, right? And if you have a bunch of overdue, you can kind of just see those real quick. Oh, these are all the overdue stuff that I need to take care of. Okay, so I'm going to probably work on those first and then get to the stuff that's current. You could do that. Okay, it's the same dashlet, they just renamed it. So if you're going to use that dashboard already, great. If I'm going to create a dashboard for people that need to do this, I'm going to put that processes dashlet on it. If I have created workflows that I need them to approve, and I need it to be front of mind, right? So that they get access. Now, you can, in a workflow, send an email to them to also notify them, hey, you have this process, and they can click on the email. But emails get overlooked sometimes. I like to have it on a dashboard where it's there, right? Everyone can see that particular process. Okay, let me flip back over here. So that's the processes dashlet. And by the way, if you want to learn how to create processes, we have a class on that. I think it's next month. I think, that goes over how to create process definitions. Can end users, not admins, define what overdue means per table? Ooh, that's a good one. For processes, no, only someone that has admin access. So that's a good question. Overdue on uh, other things like task and meetings and calls, those are all done within the record. So it has a start and an end date. And if it's past the end date, then yeah. Opportunities, the only thing that would make something, I guess, like overdue would be the expected close date. So that is something that an end user could change, could push out if it needed to be pushed out. Or like next step dates or any other custom dates that you created. If it's on the record, an end user can change a date. What makes it defined as overdue, excuse me, is the end date. Is the end date today? Then it's current. If the end date was yesterday, it's past due. So there isn't a place in where a user can say, okay, overdue is actually 3 days past. There's not a place for that. But I'm going to give this with a little caveat. That doesn't mean it can't be done on the back end, okay? It cannot be done through the UI. You can't define that overdue is 3 days past, for example. Overdue in Sugar terms out of the box is yesterday, okay? Okay, all right. So that's a process dashlet. So let's talk about some other things. I like to also when I create a dashboard, I like to group or create the dashboard based on a particular criteria, right? Like all the dashlets on this particular dashboard have to do with KPIs. All the dashboards are going to deal with our particular time period, like this quarter or next quarter, future earnings, something like that. Or everything on this dashboard has to do with pipeline, whether that is, here is our team pipeline, here are my 5 users pipelines, here are all of the opportunities that are expected to close, and here is a box on forecasting. right? Not a box, but a dashlet, excuse me. It is a box technically, but I like to group them together as a best practice. That's a great idea. Don't just willy-nilly add a bunch of stuff in there. We'll talk about that in just a second, because this can be confusing not only for you, but whoever else may be looking at your particular dashboard, right? So a couple things to avoid. That's a better way of saying that. Common mistakes to avoid. The first one is overload, okay? At this moment, I don't know that there is a limit. I'm sure there is, but I don't know of anybody that's hit it for how many dashlets you can have on a dashboard, right? If you're okay with scrolling, it will let you put as many as you want down that middle portion of the screen, right? But does that make sense? Does that make sense for your particular user to have, 50 dashlets on a dashboard when they only use 3 of them, right? Or rather than putting them into categories that make sense for that particular type of user, okay? One size does not fit all on dashboards, okay? I will say this, I like the feature that when I create a report, I can make it default to current user. So whoever's looking at that particular report or chart that could be a dashlet is looking at their information. So in that way, it helps that particular functionality, but not one dashboard is going to meet everybody's needs. So let me show you something real quick. I can in a particular dashboard, I can always, this is my dashboard, but I can go into somebody else's dashboard. Let's say the sales manager one. And I can copy this one in Manage Dashboards. So let's go to the Sales Manager one, this one. See this? Oh, not there, sorry. I thought it may be in the action menu, but it's not. I can copy someone else's dashboard. I guess not one of these. Take that back. This is probably one he can do because it's a template. I don't have someone else's dashboard to look at. I'd have to log into someone else, but there will be an option to click duplicate. Duplicate someone else's and then make sure that it fits your particular needs. Okay, Jessica, good question, good comment. So there is a way because I just did it yesterday, and I have to create one from. Let me just log out real quick. What time do we get? Ooh, we're tight. So I will send you an email, everybody an email afterwards, and I will step you through how you copy one. Okay. I can't remember if it's copy or duplicate, but I think it's duplicate actually. All right. Okay. So also misalignment of KPIs, right? If you don't make sure that they match, not just your organization, but they match the particular dashboard, it may cause some confusion, right? Which also could be because it has a poor layout. You may have all your dashlets lined up on the left side, you got all the space on the right just open. Make it look as user-friendly as possible. Make it something that when they look at it, they're like, oh, this is what I need to do today. Or, oh, this is what all my pipeline and quota looks like. Or, whatever, that they can recognize that right away, okay? So, oh, didn't do that one. Resources. So there are, and I'm going to add these to the email that I send you because it's not, I didn't want to have to put them, each one of them in the chat, but there is a whole section in the application guide for dashboards and dashlets, and also a section, which I'm going to specifically point out to you, where all of the dashlets are listed, okay? And there's a lot of them. A lot of them you may go, I don't want that. But there's going to be a handful of them that you are like, oh, I'm going to use these all the time. Use them, right? You configure them to meet your specific needs. Don't just save it, whatever it comes up and click save, I added it in. Configure it to meet your needs. If it comes up with just says my accounts, add some filters in there, make sure it makes sense for you, that you don't see just every account out there that you own, but maybe ones that are specific. Okay. There's also a section in help articles, and always, 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 you get stuck, ask a question on Sugar Club. People are eager and happy to help you out. So just as a recap, we talked about why dashboards matter, the type of users that use dashboards, the different parts or autonomy of a particular dashboard. We built a dashboard and we shared it. We talked about some advanced customization tips, common mistakes to avoid if you can, some examples as we went through, and then some resources. So just as a call to action, I know we're at the top of the, I'm going to cover these. There's not very many. Start using dashboards. Start your journey using them, right? Whether that means you go to a demo instance or that we have out on our website that you can request, or your sandbox. If you have a sandbox instance, if you don't know if you have a sandbox instance and you are a direct customer of us, contact the person that sold you sugar and they will send you the link to the sandbox, okay? Also, explore the application guide. There's a lot of information in there about specifically, I would look at all the dashlets that are available that you can add in. And if you created this great dashboard and you're like, this is wonderful, I think a lot of people this could be useful, share your success on Sugar Club. We love to hear about people saying, these are the dashboards that let's put some screenshots in, show people what you've created. And I think that may turn around back to you with, hey, I like this, but I would have added these two more things. What do you think about some communication, right? Everybody out there uses sugar, right? They're all using our products. So why not talk to each other so that you can learn from each other? Okay. All right. I know we don't have any time for questions, but if you have questions after class, this is what I'm going to tell you to do. And I'm going to type this into chat for everybody, okay? And you may not be aware, but we have a email address called university@sugarcrm.com that you can email questions at any time about anything. Doesn't necessarily have to be about this webinar. It may be, how do I use Sugar Connect? Or how do I sync in Sugar Connect my calendar? You know, whatever your question may be, ask us and we will get you the answer or get you to the right person to get the answer, okay? All right. Thanks everyone for attending. All your questions were great. If I missed any, shoot it to university@sugarcrm.com. I will check that all this afternoon to see if anybody has any additional questions. When Zoom is done, I will send everybody a copy of the recording, and it will also send you the link to where all the copies of all of the future and past SugarU Live webinars are going to be located. Okay? You'll have a great rest of your day, and thanks for joining, and I hope this was helpful for you. Bye-bye.